This is Raid Shadow Legends at its finest here. This is where all of your hard work and all of your patience and all of your, diligence building these champions over the years and making sure that these champions are built properly and optimizing the gear by farming the gear, day in, day out. This is where it all pays off. When you finally pull a champion like Odin Faefather, you finally realize all the hard work that you put into the game finally is worth something. It really feels really good, Hey YouTube, what is going on? My name is Andrew, aka the Black Dragon. This is Black Dragon Studios, and I'm back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing to you guys who I think is strictly the best legendary champion in the game. I was lucky enough to pull him. Don't ask me how. I only had one Void Shard, and I pulled this champion. I hope you guys have pulled this champion as well. If you're watching the video, you probably have this champion and or know somebody that has this champion who's looking for build advice or something like that. Or maybe you just like watching my videos. And if that is you, well, man, mad props to you. Shout out to you, man, because there's very few people out there like you right now. But hopefully more in the future. But getting back to the video specifically and why I cannot not make this video for you guys today, I have to share this video with you guys, is because I don't see any other content creator with the specific Odin build that I'm using. And honestly, bro, I think my Odin build is the best build for most accounts for what he does, for the unique thing that he does that no other champion in the game does. He is going to be better in this build, I think, and therefore not usable really in arena with this build for now. But when you go to push, he can enable so many things for you in this game. He can enable hard dungeons, he can enable high level HYDRA, he can enable high level CHIMERA, he can enable unkillable Ultra Nightmare clan boss teams, he can get you through campaign. He can get you through any area of PVE content in the game that you absolutely need him in. And he's not only just going to be like there, he's going to be getting a 5 rating in every single one of those areas. Except for maybe like Shoguns and Fire Knights. I would maybe give him like a 4 in Shoguns. And I would maybe give him like a 3 in Fire Knight. But every other area of the game that he's being used in, he's going to be getting a 5 for me. Because he's going to be literally carrying your team and getting you through the content quickly as well. So that's another thing I might want to add is like, if your champion is like not getting you through the, like takes you 20 minutes to do a dungeon or something like that, but they're not the best option for your team probably at that point, right? You could probably have someone better on your account to do that. But for many, what Odin is going to do for your account is he's going to enable all of this endgame content that you may not have been able to do before. And many whales that are getting Odin is just like, oh, whatever, it's just another arena champion and a really good one. So even they benefit from Odin. But even the low tier players, I think, benefit more from Odin, to be honest, because he's going to enable so many things that those whales were already probably able to do anyways. So with that being said, without further ado, if I haven't like glazed the shit out of Odin, you guys are going to see why he is my most prized possession on this account by a mile. And I still like, even though I pulled him 2 weeks ago and I've been building and tinkering and testing for 2 weeks now, it still hasn't sunk in yet. Just the severity of the situation, the absolute unbelievable luck that you had if you pulled Odin from like just a few random shards, or maybe you have saved up shards, maybe you had 50 or 60 voids and you just happened to pull Odin during a 2x or something like that, like I did, when he wasn't even on a 10x. Like there was no 10x for Odin on, it was just a 2x with 10x's and 15x's for other champions, and I happened to get lucky and pull Odin. Or maybe you pulled him during the low-key like Barbarians event when all like Odin and Freya and all them came out. And by the way, like, those champions, bro, Thor, Freya, Loki, and Odin, they did a fantastic job on all those champions. I was a little skeptical of it at first. I thought maybe, like, I was a little hesitant, like, what are they doing here? These champions are seeming kind of like, you know, kind of weird that they would just start bringing in all these new champions into the game that you can collect through fusions or guaranteed champion events. You know, yada yada, free login champions and then, like, guaranteed champion events or something like that, or, you know, get Odin on a 15x or a 25x. So Odin was, of the 4 that came in, Odin was initially the hardest to get, because Odin was one of the ones that you couldn't get through a guaranteed, like, winning a tournament. I think you could get Freya, or maybe Freya was the Deck of Fate or something like that, where you could actually, like, get Freya by completing the Deck of Fate. I can't quite remember how people got Freya, or maybe it was through, yeah, but then I don't even know, dude, how people got Freya, but I know that she wasn't that hard to get. And Loki obviously was like a free login champion that you could just get. Thor could be fused, so if you fuse Thor, congratulations, you have one of the best damage dealers ever in the history of Raid, for absolutely free. And then Odin, I think that they introduced him through Prism Shards. If I'm not mistaken, at first he was available by Prism Shards, and then they put him on like a 10x and a 15x and a 25x on Voids, but even those are like it's pretty insignificant, right? With all the amount of champions in the pool of potential champions that you could get in today's day and age, and how low of a chance you have of pulling a legendary champion from shards to begin with, from Void shards especially. But yeah, anyways, the point I'm trying to make to you guys is we are about to take an in-depth look at one of the most, I'm not going to say busted, I want to say busted, but he's not busted. He's literally just the best, hands down the best champion in the game. He beats Armands. The only place he doesn't beat Armands on an overall level is Arena. He's still a 5 in Arena, but Armands is like a 10 in Arena out of 5. So there's the difference between Odin and Armands. They do the same thing. They strip your buffs and they stun your whole team. But the difference is Armands steals turns. He steals turns and stuns your whole team and puts you to sleep. He sheeps your whole team, he stuns your whole team, he rips your whole team's turn meter, and then he takes extra turns, strips your buffs, turns you into a sheep. And he writes your mother, and he writes, "I fucked your mother" on the wall, and then laughs in your face as he's riding off into the sunset with your wife. That's Armands, but Odin is sort of like that, but in a less, like, significant way. He's just like, I'm just going to take all your buffs off, then I'm going to stun you. I'm not going to steal your turn meter, but 2 turns from now I'm going to place block damage on my entire team, plus the 6 other buffs that you've put on me during that time. So my whole team is going to have strengthen, block debuffs, you know, ally protect, strength, increased defense, increased speed. What can you do? What can you do at that point when all the buffs have been spread? Nothing. You can't do anything at that point, especially if they're protected. It's over. It's over. And not only that, the difference between Armands and Odin is Odin actually lays a big smack, man. You're going to see the biggest smack ever in history that I've ever seen from any one support champion in today's video. Odin going to be laying a 4 million damage smack on Spider 20 for it could be a potential 3-turn Spider 20 team that's very, very viable, or a guaranteed 100% 4-turn Spider 20 farm team. So with that being said, I'm not going to lay the pipe any further on this champion. I'm just saying, bro, like, this is the champion. This is like, if you pull this champion, this is the one. He's him. So let's get into the video. Without further ado, man, Odin Faefather. If you guys like this type of content, go ahead, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the video. Peace. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you guys my Odin build. This is my, well, if you guys saw the last video, it's called the Odin Slowboy build. And again, I would highly recommend not running this build in Arena, because The only thing the only benefit that you're gonna get in arena is probably a win more condition, I would say, or maybe he could be used on a go second team with this build. But honestly, since it's not stone skin, it's probably not a good go second build, and therefore I would highly advise against using this build in arena. So essentially, I think that this is his best build. This best potential build would be to build him in a reflex set or a 4-piece merciless with 4-piece reflex for that extra chance at decreasing the cooldown of a random skill when dealing damage, or also just reflex in general. But I think that Merciless is the best set to have him in because he actually does a lot of damage as well. So what Merciless is going to do is it's actually going to give him extra crit damage as well as that extra chance to decrease the random cooldown of a skill by 1 turn when dealing damage. Okay, so I wouldn't go anywhere past the 4-piece set bonus for Merciless, because we don't want him getting extra turns. Extra turns just means that the buffs that he carries is going to wear off quicker. So the whole point of a slow boy build is to make sure that the buffs stay on Odin. So for those that don't know, what is Odin doing in the first place? Every 9 turns, places block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn, and also applies a buff spread effect, taking all buffs from this champion and placing them on all allies. Now, I've tested this, and funnily enough, the only buffs that he actually doesn't spread is perfect fails. He will not spread perfect fails. I'm not sure if he'll spread unkillables, but then again, it doesn't really matter because we have the block damage, so it's not really that important that we have unkillables on our champions, unless we're going up there for against champions that have ignore block damage but don't have ignore unkillable. But in PVE, which this build is primarily going to be built for, block damage is going to be more than enough most of the time anyways. So he's going to spread the block damage. He's going to spread all of the other buffs that you put on him. So the less turns that he takes, the better, because that means that the more that your buffers will get a chance to rebuff the team, or just buff him specifically, and then that will mean that his passive every 9 turns means every 9 turns that any champions on the battlefield take, including your enemies. So the slower that Odin goes, the better in this particular instance, because he's just going to be on the team to spread the buffs. That's essentially what he's going to be doing. And then every once in a while, he'll get to his Asgardian Judgment, which is his big single target nuke. It works really good against bosses because it hits very hard. So basically, I haven't discovered the mechanics of exactly how this works yet. But one thing I can tell you is what it reads here is attack. So it attacks one enemy before attacking, steals all buffs from the target. So that's kind of cool. We're going to be stealing all buffs from the target. This can be really good in Chimera to steal off that increased speed buff, that pesky, stupid increased speed buff that they get. Or in HYDRA, where they sometimes will steal all of your buffs. The head that steals all your buffs from one champion, you can just go ahead and re-steal those back with Odin. The damage inflicted by this skill depends on the target's type, is what kind of confuses me, because you have to know what the target's type is in order to know what kind of damage we're going to be doing here. But one thing I can tell you is that it doesn't really matter what the target's type is. With this build, he will be killing most things or severely injuring them. So attack, if they're attack based, he'll deal damage based on the target's attack, which is them. If they're defense based, he'll deal damage based on their defense. And then HP / support / bosses, he'll do damage based on the target's max HP. This attack will ignore 100% of the target's defense. Therefore, we don't need any savage gear. We don't need extra pieces of Merciless on Odin. We don't need things like Helm Smasher on Odin. Okay, so we've actually done some very cool things here that I don't know if anyone else is doing this with Odin, but I'm doing it. I'm going to show you all the little secrets in today's video. So this Asgardian Judgment here is actually quite interesting as well, because if the target was killed by this skill, revives a random dead ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter, and damage is based on enemy max HP. So this is on a 3-turn cooldown, so this is actually going to be coming back quite frequently, especially if we can. I couldn't get him in Reflex, and I couldn't get him in 4-piece Merciless yet. So what you want from that 4-piece Merciless is obviously the crit damage. The little bit of speed is kind of nice because you can operate at around 150 speed for most optimal performance. I would say between 150 and 160 speed would be like the most that I would have him going, but I've seen him work at lower speeds as well, like 140 I had him going, and he was working good there as well. So it's not like you need to have him at like 151 speed or else type thing. The speed rate does vary, which is nice. You can actually have him going probably faster if you want, honestly, but the point that I'm trying to make to you guys here is that this is just a very accessible, easy build that everybody can do. There's not very many people in this game that won't be able to achieve these numbers in speed. Therefore, allowing you to delve into the areas that he is going to be needing those other stats in, like, for example, accuracy, crit rate, and crit damage will be 3 of the main statistical components that we're going to be looking for on Odin. Okay? And that's really all that's necessary. To get that Asgardian Judgment smack as high as humanly possible, we've gone ahead and we've put 301 crit damage on him. So I've got him in very high crit damage, 100% crit rate, attack doesn't matter, HP doesn't matter, defense doesn't matter, but I still got the defense up to 3k and the HP up to 45k, which is pretty decent. This is also going to be very important too if you plan on buffing him with things like increased resistance, like a feral increased resistance team, which I'm going to be showing you guys a lot in this video actually. Then you're going to want to build him for the highest level content in the game. I would say that you're probably going to want to build him at the very minimum of like looking to like 300 resistance. I could only get to 255. It works in most places. The only place that I haven't seen this work is like the hardest levels of Bommel in the Doom Tower. In the higher levels of Bommel in the hard Doom Tower, Bommel has extremely high accuracy. You're going to need like 350 accuracy, 350 resistance, plus the feral increased resistance and the passive, which gives you an extra 50 resistance, which then brings his resistance up to roughly 500 to 600 resistance. Well, even then, I've heard that, and this is just what I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not, that Bommel actually can go upwards of like 700 accuracy at the very highest levels. So if you're looking to do just Bommel with your Odin, then you're going to need to jack the accuracy or the resistance up over 700. But for every other area of the game, I found that 255 accuracy plus pairing him with an increased resistance champion that has a resist aura and also gives him added resistance like with his passive, 250 resistance is just fine for this type of a champion. And then his accuracy, we'd like to get it as high as possible. I managed to get him up to 387. Again, remembering this is just for PvE, not for PvP. I'm not even going to specifically state what I think his PvP accuracy should be. I will make a specific video for Odin in Arena at some point for you guys, like when I get some gear, free gear removal or something like that. I promise you guys I will make an Odin Arena build. But just at the moment, like, I can't really use Odin in live arena because everyone just bans him anyways, because my other champions aren't really that good. But they're good enough to hover where I am in live arena already, and I wasn't going any higher with Odin anyways. Same thing with regular arena. I'm already farming gold arena at a very high success rate before Odin. Maybe you need Odin to get to that gold 5 arena. Then this build video is probably not the video for you. But if you're already doing Gold 5 Arena, then you don't need to push to Platinum Arena, then this build's going to work just fine. So yeah, 387 accuracy for PvE. But honestly, bro, I would like to get that up to like 450 to do Nightmare HYDRA. We definitely want to be getting that accuracy up in most cases, unless you have increased accuracy, obviously. An increased accuracy champ would be really good actually with Odin. It would lower your accuracy requirements by quite a bit. But yeah, get that Great Hall up, get those area bonuses up. In fact, I think I do have area bonuses for HYDRA, if I'm not mistaken. And HYDRA specifically, area bonus of accuracy, so 24 accuracy I'm getting from the HYDRA battles, area bonus. So his true speed in HYDRA is actually 159. His true resistance, just base resistance in HYDRA is actually 295. And his accuracy is actually 411. So that's really cool. That's not too bad there in and of itself. If you consider the crap gear that I've put on him, I only have the 2-piece Merciless, which gives me 15% crit damage. Other than that, there's nothing here. Like, I got a 1-piece Stone Skin, or 2-piece Stone Skin, which gives me 8 HP and 40 resistance. So there's nothing, that's not necessary at all. Just pieces that have a lot of accuracy. I got this piece here, this Feral Amulet with crit damage, and it has accuracy on it. Plus it gives another 40 accuracy just for the 1 set piece bonus. So that's actually really, really nice. If I was to ascend this gear, I'm just trying to cover all my bases here. I would rather have crit damage. Ooh, they're going to let me re-roll that? Rework that? Sure, I'll do that. Hey, there we go. We got crit damage. Hey, just like that, we got crit damage. So I'll have to go back over to... I'll have to go back over in a moment to Shogun's Grove and go just get those extra potions so I can finish maxing that out. But for now, that's where it stands, because most of my time right now is being spent in... Sand Devil, trying to get these gear pieces ascended first before I ascend the accessories. So yeah, very expensive to farm those areas and try to do all the other areas of the game. But I'm getting there, because I just got my Lydia done, my Faction Wars is done. I'm not doing any fusions, I'm saving, and now I'm just farming straight Sand Devil. I don't care what events come, I don't care. You could throw me $1 million and I'd still be farming in Sand Devil until further notice, just to finish off. That's pretty much my goal for 2025, is to just finish ascending my champions properly, and look for some of these blessings as well. Let's see what else could we talk about for Odin. What does he have for a banner? Accuracy banner with a double roll of speed. Nothing serious, nothing crazy. And then just this nice defense ring with... really bad statistics. I guess that was just to get that resistance up a little more, because I needed more resistance on him. So that second piece of Stone Skin there gives me 40 resistance. So if you look at it that way, I'm getting 40 resistance from this ring, which makes it really good actually, in this case specifically. So that's why I have him on that. And then for the relic, I was able to get him in this badass... This is the best rare relic in the game, PS, if you guys didn't know this. The Male Thick Talon, +9, it's 3 stars. I got him 21% crit damage and plus 900 HP. 20% chance to deal 10% more damage when attacking. So if this procs, you're going to see some huge smacks being laid by this guy when he does his Asgardian Judgment, okay? So his A2, which we didn't talk about before, and again, we're just going over everything. It might be a little scattered, but we're going to eventually cover it, so just stay tuned. This is his A2. This is his like bread and butter. Storm of Familiars. On a 3-turn cooldown when booked, I have 1 more book to put on him. But I have been running him for 2 weeks without this book, so I can tell you that it is all possible to run this on a 4-turn cooldown as long as you have the chance booked. That's really all that needs to be booked. Even in Arena, this is really all that needs to be booked. So we got that 100% chance to place decreased defense after removing all the buffs from all enemies, by the way. 100% chance to place decreased defense on all enemies for 2 turns, and a 100% chance to stun all enemies for 1 turn. So there you go. It's a pretty good skill. It doesn't work on bosses, but it will get you through waves. It will, it will stun everybody that you need to get stunned and get you through like content like Doom Tower, or places like Dragonheart or Ice Golem Hard, for example. So there you go. That's pretty much all that I can tell you there. And let's see here. What are the masteries? So I've went down. Let me just move my head here to the defense tree. Yeah, so like I said, we're over here, and I went for the tier 6 flawless execution mastery, which gives an additional 20% crit damage there. So we don't really go flawless execution a whole lot with many champs, because most champs don't ignore 100% of the target's defense with their main nuking skill. But the benefit of having Odin is he's got basically built into his kit, he's got essentially 4 instances of Helm Smasher built into his kit. So if Helm Smasher wasn't already broken enough, Odin has 4 of them already built into his main skill. So that's awesome, because not only is he going to get that, but he's also going to get another 20% crit damage on top of that with the flawless execution mastery. So we got also here blood shield. So whenever he kills an enemy, except for boss's minions, he's going to get a shield equal to 15% of this champion's max HP. So this is great, because not only is he going to get a shield, he's going to be able to spread the shield to everyone else as well. So the entire team is going to get roughly a 6k shield from Odin killing a champion for the first time in each round. Actually, it's just all the time. It's a static effect that happens once per turn. Okay, so I've also opted for kill streak as well, which is great. This is going to work for arena. When we finally do bring him over to arena, I think we'll still keep the masteries the same. Increases the damage inflicted by 6% in arena and siege battles, and 3% in all other locations for each enemy killed by this champion. Stacks up to 12%. 12% extra damage is no joke, dude. That's no joke. So that's a really good one there. And then we've also went for Cycle of Violence. So we've got a 30% chance to decrease the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn whenever we deal 30% or more of the target's max HP. So we're going to be hopefully decreasing the cooldown of that Asgardian Judgment more than once in a battle, especially in HYDRA, where you can easily like take a downed head, for example, and just smack that dead in one shot with Odin. Yeah, if we can get that Cycle of Violence proc from that, that would be awesome. And then, yeah, Whirlwind of Death. So if we're killing an enemy, we can actually increase speed by up to 18. So it is what it is. I honestly never even factored in that I had taken that. And another reason why you can just build him with super slow speed, because he's eventually going to get that extra 18 speed anyways. Plus he's going to be getting turn meter boost. Plus he's going to be getting boosted with things like increased speed and stuff like that. He's actually going to be going pretty quick. He's actually not as slow as you think he is. So we're going to obviously go with Bring It Down, 6% more damage to targets with higher max HP. Everyone's going to have higher max HP than Odin. So yeah, Bring It Down is going to be needed in this case to do that extra damage. And then Single Out, targets with less than 40% HP get hit for 8% more damage, which is awesome. And then Keen Strike. So with just the masteries alone, bro, we've got an extra 30% crit damage. This is crazy, dude. Keen Strike, and then Shield Breaker. If the opponent has a shield, well, guess what? I don't even know, honestly, why I picked this, because Odin's probably just going to steal the shield anyways. But in the cases where the champions post, like, non-removable shields, Odin is going to be just blasting through those champions to begin with. And then I went with the crit rate there for that extra. It just makes building, so much easier. Even if you can get to 100% crit rate, you might find a different build in the future that needs that 5% crit rate. And I don't really care about the attack, so I don't want to spend 150 gems to change the masteries if I don't have to. So I'll just always take that extra crit rate over the 75 attack pretty much any time I'm building a champion. So yeah, we went down the support tree. There is a case to be made for this thing here called Solidarity, which increases ally resistance by 5 for each buff placed on them by the champion. If you can get that, I would recommend, like, if you can get the accuracy on Odin high enough, this is pretty much all that we went down the support tree for, is the Master Hexer to increase the duration of those decreased defenses by 1 turn. Not really that good, honestly. The Lord of Steel, which is going to increase the base set bonuses. So things like crit damage is actually going to be increased by the Lord of Steel. Things like speed, accuracy, resistance, given by set bonuses, HP percent, is all going to be increased by Lord of Steel. So Lord of Steel is actually really good on Odin. And then the accuracy, obviously. But if you can get all those accuracy stats, I would highly recommend going down the defense tree and going into Solidarity, because you're going to increase your team's resistance by sometimes like 500. I kid you not. If you think about the amount of buffs that he's actually placing on the team, maybe 400, because he'll often place 10 buffs on all of your teammates. So if you have 4 teammates and you place 10 buffs on all of them, that's 10 times 5, that's 50 times 4, that's an extra 200 resistance. And then if one of those buffs is an increased resistance, well, your team resistance just went up well over 500, potentially over 700. So Solidarity would be insane on this champion. That's all I'm trying to say. So yeah, that would be awesome. Resurgent would be kind of cool as well. Wisdom of Battle would actually be insane on Odin. Because if he does get the block debuffs, then he's going to spread it around to the rest of your team. So there you go. Yeah, that's Odin's masteries. Lots of options there. Lots to choose from. So if you guys have any, I'm gonna end the mastery chat there, because I don't really want to spend too much time on the masteries. But if you guys have any questions about masteries, or you guys have any different questions about masteries, yeah, you can hit me up on Discord, and I'll definitely try to help you out with that. But otherwise, you could just use these masteries. They work just fine. So with the blessing, if I was to get a blessing on Odin, what would I get? Intimidating presence, probably, honestly. A 6-star intimidating presence on that aura would be great if you were running him in arena. But not only does it hit that aura, but it strengthens any aura that you put on your team. So it's going to strengthen, your increased resistance aura, your increased speed auras, whatever aura goes on your team, and it's going to also weaken the enemy's team aura if they do have one, which they will in higher levels of dungeons and stuff like that. Bosses will have intimidating presence, so you'll need this to kind of negate their aura. You could also throw Lightning Cage on him just to protect one of those buffs from getting removed. I wouldn't really go with Lightning Cage, honestly. I think it's kind of a weak, maybe polymorph. Again, more of an arena thing. But if you're running him in arena, definitely polymorph. Brimstone's an option, but honestly, Brimstone's kind of weak as well. We're trying to find the best one here, right? So let's see. Honestly, I don't really. I feel maybe a 6-star Chainbreaker, 25% chance of removing debuffs, 40% chance of filling this champion's turn meter by 20% when hit. I don't know. Would that be good? Soul Reap is an option. Soul Reap, yep. Soul Reap is great because if you say get them down to 15% HP or whatever, then the Reaper shows up and cuts them dead. So yeah, Soul Reap would be really cool actually, especially if you get a 6-star on that. Temporal Chains would be kind of cracked on him, honestly, even in other areas than arena. Yeah, this would be pretty good. So there's lots of let's just put it this way, okay? There's the beauty of Odin is there's so much that you can do with him, and all of it's good. All of it's good. So I wouldn't be upset if you guys picked any of the blessings that I just showed you guys. So That's really it. I'm not even going to talk about his A1 because honestly, bro, it's a single target. It hits a single target. It does nothing. It puts a debuff on them, but mostly, you know, that debuff doesn't matter anyways. So we're not even going to discuss that. So that's the build for Odin. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just run you guys through some of the content here that I've put him through. And I kind of lost my last week's HYDRA battle, so let's go into HYDRA. We're going to go into HYDRA. We're going to do Brutal HYDRA. I had my score from last week, but honestly, dude, I lost that. Let's go with this team here. So this is my HYDRA Brutal team. This is actually Odin's first week on the job. Instantly moved me from hard to brutal and doubled my damage that I was getting on hard, on a higher difficulty. So that's what Odin can enable for HYDRA. And it's just basically He-Man for damage, Godseeker for buff extension, Feral for increased resistance, and Perfect Fails Odin for Odin, doing Odin things. And then Lydia for increased speed and strengthens, and Mithrala for strengthens, increased defense, increased attack, hex, poisons, and everything else under the sun, shields. She does everything. So let's go ahead and run them on full auto here. They should be running decently well on full auto. The only thing we're really missing is something to deal with the poison cloud. So let's just let this run for a minute and see how they do. Thankfully, the poison cloud guy isn't in there right now, so we don't have to worry about a poison cloud. But essentially what we've done is we've just buffed the whole team. We don't have a provoker either. So we've got no provoker. Normally I would have Mithrala in a provoke set, but I put her in the wrong set. I put her in a curse set, which hexes people. So, you know, it is what it is. It's not that great. I'd much rather have her in a provoke set so we could provoke this head right here and not let him remove all the debuffs. But yeah, so essentially what we have here is we have, I believe, Lydia or Feral in the lead for that extra resistance aura. And then we're just trying to, you know, get He-Man as many turns as humanly possible. And Odin as many Asgardian judgments as we could possibly get while surviving. And as you can see here, the Hydras aren't going to be able to do much now that we've got this. We've got 4 turns, now 3, of increased resistance on Odin. He's going so damn slow that Feral is completely unbooked here. And, you know, he's on a 6-turn cooldown for his increased resistance. Well, you know, he's going to be going at like a 3-to-1 ratio on Odin anyways. So he'll get right back to that skill before Odin ever has a chance to, you know, not have that on him anymore. So we've got Odin for decreased defense. The only thing that we're missing here, no, we've got Lydia for decreased defense and weaken. So Odin's our secondary decreased defense for this HYDRA team. Again, I'm going to state, not the best HYDRA team in the world, definitely better teams out there, but for my account, what Odin's been able to accomplish for my account instantly and on full auto as well, taking us from hard HYDRA to brutal HYDRA and doubling the damage that we were normally getting on hard HYDRA. So we're easily one keying. I think we'll one key this by like turn 50 or turn 60. We'll have 1 key damage in. And then from there, it's just about how much damage can we do. If I can get around 60 to 70 million damage, I'll probably keep the run. Otherwise, this will just be a demonstration of like what the average run can do with this type of a team. So, but yeah, we have Godseeker extending the buffs as well, plus doing revives, plus her passive, which is revive on death. So if anybody happens to go down, they'll get revived instantly, and that's the beauty of it. They get revived instantly, and then Odin will spread the buffs before, like, while the champion is up rather than on the ground, right? So then they'll get the benefits of, the shields and all the survivability buffs to hopefully get their health back to a stable number. So, yeah, Godseeker is pretty broken with Odin for that reason. And we're doing pretty good damage here. I don't remember quite what the damage numbers are supposed to look like in order to get to my record, which last week I think we hit 70 million damage on Brutal, which is crazy for me. I think we're doing like half the damage compared to the turn count. So like say the turn count's turn 20, it should say like 10 million damage. I think we're pretty close to record pace right now. But they did just eat my He-Man, so let's see if we can get him out. We should easily be able to get him out, actually. Yeah, we should easily be able to get him out. And then I guess, just hopefully get some good RNG. And as long as we can prevent He-Man from getting eaten, prevent Odin from being eaten for too long, which are our two damage dealers. Thrala's a tertiary damage dealer as well. She can deal a lot of damage over time, but doesn't really deal burst damage, which is what we really need on this team, actually, now that I think about it. It would be nice to have somebody like a Necrozia or a Toshiro to be able to, activate those HP burns instantly and deal massive damage to all the Hydras. But we just don't, the account just doesn't have anything like that on it at the moment. So we rely heavily on Fearl's decreased speeds and Lydia's increased speeds to take extra turns to get around to He-Man's nukes more often, which is pretty much where all of our damage is coming from. I would say about half of our damage on this Hydra team is coming from He-Man himself. So the more turns we get, essentially, the better for He-Man on this type of a team. So we are running turn 38, and we're already more than halfway to a 1 key. I think 1 key on Brutal is 36 million damage. So we're pretty much there now. Yeah, we're there now. We're at turn 40 and already halfway there. And I think now that we've got He-Man out of the chompers, you'll probably see the damage numbers spike up a little more than average. Our damage does fall off significantly when he is currently being eaten by the Hydra. So let's see. I think if we can get to a 1 key by turn 55, that will be on record pace. But let's see here. Okay, so who did they eat? They ate the Godseeker. That's not too bad, and honestly, we're about to get her back like immediately. So the Poison Cloud guy has arrived, but the beauty of it was that he ate my champions. So this is good. Now we have a chance to kind of like regroup here at least a little bit before this Poison Cloud goes up on all the enemies. If we can get a block buffs from Firo, which I don't think is going to happen before he gets a chance to take a turn. No, he's just going to put the Poison Cloud up and it's over. So we'll have to work on that head that's decapitated for now. And hopefully kill the head over there on the right in order to get any damage off while these Poison Clouds are up. And that's really our only weakness, honestly, with this team is the fact that that some of our champions remain unbooked. They remain unascended. And their gear isn't maybe the best gear. It's not fully optimized. It's still a really good team setup. To just be able to full auto is, that's the beauty of it, right? So what, we're on turn 53 and we've already got 25 million in the bag, 10 million more, and we've got our 1 key. I'm happy. If we can even hit 50 million, I'm happy with it. I'll probably take it just so I don't have to run this again. I could have quick battled, but I just wanted to. I wanted to do a real-time demonstration, and you guys know that there's no cutting. I'm not redoing this 45 times to try and get the optimal run. This is an average run, and this is what you're going to get with Odin. You're going to get consistency every single time. That's the beauty of the best champion in the game. And what makes them the best champion in the game is consistency. If your champion is not consistent, like RNG based, for example, you're going to have a very tough time in this game compared to champions that are 100%, such as Odin. Yeah, so we are running a little bit underpaced here. I'm hoping that that we can stem the tide here a little bit and kill off this Poison Cloud head before he gets a chance. I might even just manually target it, which I just did. I'm going to manually target the Poison Cloud head so we can kill it before it gets a chance to place the Poison Clouds. Hopefully. No, didn't quite work. So here's where we run into issues. We don't have HP burns up, and we have no way to remove these Poison Clouds. So we're relying heavily now on... well, actually, we're just straight up losing damage. We're just straight up losing damage. And we may not get our champion back. If we don't get our champion back, I'm going to have to restart the run because it's just not... I'm not going to be satisfied with 36 million damage when I know the team is capable of much more. But yeah, we're already on turn 74 and we only got like 33 million damage. We can do better than that. But we are on pace for, I think, a 50 bomb. So if I can get the 50 bomb here, I'd be more than happy with that. Usually it takes about 20 minutes for the run to just complete on full auto. So yeah, we'll probably finish with around 60 million damage, I would say, looking at what we're at now. They're gonna eat... Oh, they're gonna eat Odin next. Okay, so there's... He-Man is still up, but they're gonna eat Odin next. Okay, so we'll see how that goes here. But yeah, other than that, we're looking pretty good. The True Fears are currently proccing on us, but that's fine. Not a big deal. Odin will still spread the buffs regardless of if he has a fear on him or not. So there's no way fear can stop these buffs from being spread, which is really cool. And another nice thing about Odin is rarely will he target that head anyways with his attacks. We don't have a block debuffs champion on this team. I didn't feel that it was necessary. I'm just basically talking about things as we're going here, so hopefully you guys are enjoying the video. Again, if you are, you know, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and I'll just keep talking here. But yeah, I didn't feel that putting a champion like Necrit in here was really all that necessary because we have the increased resistance, because we have the cleanser, because we have a way to strip their buffs and steal their buffs and prevent our buffs from being removed. We have protection sets, etc., etc., etc. I didn't feel like, okay, that was a really weak ass hit. So this is our whole issue right here, and this is the only issue we're ever going to face, is this stupid frickin' Poison Cloud, dude. If it wasn't for this guy, we would output so much more damage. But yeah, He-Man just lost his turn. I think we're pretty screwed here. I think we're pretty screwed. Yeah, so we have to restart the run. I just lost my Odin because of it, but we already hit one key. So if that's what you're really looking for, let's do quick battle and see what turns up here. $66.79 million. I will take that all day, every day, 100% of the time. Let's see what the numbers are here. Odin coming in with 6 million damage. Feral with a nice looking 6 million damage. Godseeker with 4.2 million damage. So this is what you get when you put War Master on your champions. Mithrala with 16 million damage. and He-Man with 34 million damage. This is pretty good. I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm very satisfied with the way that they just did it. 200 million clash points for the first key, and we will keep that and move on from that. So that's Odin and HYDRA. Next part of the video is all been pre-recorded. I pre-recorded these gameplays, but I didn't do any commentary for them yet. Just clips, you know, bits and pieces of pretty much every area in the game that we're going to be seeing Odin excel in. I put a clip in, and I'll just kind of try and talk through the walkthrough here as we go. So let's go into the event dungeon stage 25. I managed to increase my event dungeon by 5 stages with this simple team here. We've got the 60 resist aura. So let's just slow it down a bit here, and we'll just kind of talk about it just quickly. Okay, so we've got Feral placing the increased resistance and the perfect veils on the entire team. We've got him doing that before any other buffs are placed. Therefore, the Queen of Hearts is going to take her extra turn after the increased resistances are placed, which hopefully means that our team's buffs will remain on us. Therefore, we're not going to be getting debuffed by the Queen of Hearts. We're not going to be getting those true fears. And it will enable all of our other buffs to not get removed. The block debuffs, the ally protects, the increased attacks, and whatever else we can get, like from Mithrala, the strengthens. Who do we have on the team here? Arbiter, the increased attacks, the increased defenses and shields from Mithrala. And we actually have Necrit in here for just those block debuffs, because it is very important to have that secondary strengthened, as well as the shields as well. The shields really help. Necrit is in a protection set, so he's going to be actually very helpful here. And the ally protect with Feral's A1 decreased speed is actually pretty insane here. So yeah, the Queen of Hearts is going to have a hard time taking off of our debuffs, and then we're just going to slowly mow them down one by one with Odin. Not a very good team, I'm not going to lie to you, but it works, and farming stage 25 event dungeon is much better than farming stage 20. You're going to see a lot more legendary pieces farming stage 25 than you are farming stage 20. So I'm sure there is a world where Odin could fit into a team that does do event dungeon stage 30. I just don't have the gear or the champions yet to be able to do that. But Odin is definitely like the main character in this particular team here. If it wasn't for him, I don't think we would be able to finish this, because we wouldn't have all these buffs. Let's review that little play there that just happened. So right now our team is like sort of buffed. It's, you know, it's not too bad, but look what's about to happen here. Coming right about now. Boom. So, I mean, what other champion is doing this? Odin just plays block damage, shields, strengthens, block debuffs, increased defense, increased resistance, increased attack on every single champion on the team. What more could you ask for out of a champion? Queen of Hearts goes to take an extra turn, does absolutely nothing, and we are off to the races. The Queen of Hearts is going to have trouble. I found that the Queen of Hearts, actually, the problem with the Queen of Hearts at the higher levels is past stage 25 is she actually gets faster and faster to the point where she's outspeeding my entire team, and she just gets no resistance whatsoever. So like, I can't put up the increased resistance, and then she's able to just put all the fears on my entire team, and the whole plan just gets foiled when pretty much my whole team misses a turn due to fears, right? But the whole thing about the event dungeon right now with the Queen of Hearts is that she will get an extra turn every 10 buffs you put on your team. So the trick is to just jack up the resistance, so to the point where she cannot take the debuffs off your team, and then you're just off to the races from that point forward, right? Sometimes she will, obviously, you see it there. Sometimes, you know, she does get through, But then Odin comes in and just spreads the buffs again. So it's a very versatile team. I would say the success rate of this team here was probably in the 95 percentile, maybe around there, which is, you know, it's acceptable. It's not the best, but it definitely works in a pinch. And with a better supporting cast, I'm sure we could find a team with better speed, I should say. Like, we need Feral to be faster. We need him to be booked. We need Mithrala to be a bit faster. We need her to be booked. We probably like to replace the Arbiter with someone else, honestly, but our team speed is just so ass that she kind of just had to be in there. And then Necrit, yeah, just get him running like 280, 290 speed, and I'm sure we could be doing the stage 30 event dungeon with this very same team. At maybe a 5 or a 6 minute rate, which isn't that great, but it still works, and it's still, you know, not bad with super raids and everything like that. I'm sure if you had different champions like Newt, Newt is obviously going to be a better option than Arbiter if you can get their speeds proper. But yeah, if you can get a Newt in there, you probably have this done in 30-40 seconds. But yeah, unfortunately I don't have a Newt. A Newt is my most wanted champion on the account right now, but besides Sifi is probably my second most wanted champ, followed by like legendary champions. I'm talking probably followed by I don't know, King Narcissus or something like that. Odin smacking for 2 million damage there. Let's go back and watch that again. I made a point to like slow it down and give you a replay and everything. So it's not, you know, the amount of health that the champion has is not important. What is important is nobody is surviving a 2 million smack. So how is he getting a 2 million smack? Well, this champion here, if we back it up a bit, this is a support champion. This is a HP based support champion, I believe. So this champion has a very high HP, and they have the Berserk debuff on, so they're going to be taking 50% more damage. They also have a Weaken debuff on, which is going to be making them take 25% more damage. So they're going to be taking 75% more damage. If they had a decreased defense on there, I guess it wouldn't matter, because all we need is a Weaken with Odin. So here we go. And actually that brings me to my second point. Odin's kind of oddball, because why wouldn't he just place, why wouldn't with his A2, would he just not place either decreased defense and Weaken along with the buff strip, or just a buff strip plus the Weakens instead of the decreased defense? Because it makes no sense. Like, he's already ignoring 100% of defense, and a Weaken is pretty much just as good as as a decreased defense. I guess for other champions, no, it's not. Like, yeah, decreased defense is probably going to work better for champions that don't have it as much ignore defense as Odin on their big smacks, but I think for the purpose of Odin, they should have just made it decreased defense and Weaken. But anyways, that's my last complaint, and my only complaint really about Odin. So yeah, he's going to go in here, boom, 2 million damage on the, I forget her name. What is her name? Manaya. One of the token trader champions. Very, very annoying champion. Places shields and block debuffs on your entire team for 3 turns or some shit like that. Very, very annoying. And if she has Coronar on the same team, even more annoying, but not as meta as she... Well, she's not meta at all, actually. She used to be meta before Stone Skin and before Mythical Champions. She actually would be quite a beast on Arena Defense, but not anymore. Not anymore. So yeah, we're running for 4 minutes here. We're actually placing decreased accuracy as well as decreased attack, which is kind of relevant on the Queen of Hearts. So the decreased accuracy paired with the increased resistance is what makes Feral so broken in the first place, because when you're able to give your entire team increased resistance and then an AoE decrease resistance or decrease accuracy on the entire enemy team, it's going to make your life just so much easier in the higher level content. And then to just be able to keep those buffs alive with Odin for ad infinitum. I mean, it's basically an infinite buff team, and whenever your champion gets downed and then they get revived, Odin's just a turn or two away from spreading all these debuffs right back onto that champion again. Another buff that goes really good with Odin is continuous heals, but I found that, and we're going to see it later in the video, so I don't want to spoil the video for you too much, but there will come a point where we're actually buffing too much. We have too many buffs on Odin, and he's not able to apply a block damage buff on anyone because we've already got 10 buffs on our entire team. So, yeah, you really want to watch out for that and try to make sure that you're not putting too many continuous heals on your team, because there's champions, a few of them actually, who, you know, can place crazy amounts, like 3, 4, 5 continuous heals before they expire, and then it just becomes this infinite loop of continuous heals. And sometimes you're missing the shields, or you're missing the block damage buff, or you're missing the increased defense, and your champion ends up getting killed because of it. Okay, so what you guys just saw there while I was talking, we're going to replay it. We're going to go over now to Iron Twins. So we're doing Iron Twins. Any affinity, this team will work. Any affinity, any... let me move my head over here. I think this is probably better for this one. This will work on any affinity, full auto, this team. It's a very simple team. Pretty much the exact same team that we were using in the previous level. The only difference here is that we have a Godseeker in to extend the durations of the debuffs, Arbiter out, Godseeker in, full auto, and it's just high resistance team with Mithrala doing brimstone damage. And that's how we kill the guy. So poisons and brimstones from Mithrala, and then just maximum survivability. Actually a very quick run. I think we do this run in about 2:30. Which is really insane. I cut the run down almost all the way, because what you're seeing here is pretty much all that's going on for the whole battle. We're putting decreased speed on the boss, which is really important. We're putting decreased attack on the boss as well with Necrit. So a decreased attack champion is actually pretty essential here if you want maximum survivability in the highest levels of Iron Twins. And affinity friendly is nice. To be able to use the exact same team in all affinities is actually awesome, because, you know, we don't have to build for, you know, 4 different teams for 4 different affinities. So yeah, being able to just full auto it every day and get those tokens right here. As you see, we're going to get the maximum amount of gold and red tokens there, so we can buy those perfect souls or those split souls from the soul shop. So doesn't get any better than that. Odin coming in here with 1.47 million damage, and then Mithrala with the same amount of damage. So Mithrala and then Feral with a little bit of damage as well, but most of the damage is being done here by Odin and Mithrala. And that is a 100% clear rate. 0 fails. I've never seen that team fail before. So here we go. The 4-turn Spider 20 team. This is like, you know, just for quick farming. You're going to be farming for events, or just want to complete a fusion or something like that. Or you just need silver. This is a really good way to do it. It's super fast. It takes like 10 seconds. And we're on to the next one. It's 100%. So the way I'll explain it to you quickly is I have 2 champions that deal decreased defense and weaken, so that in case they get that odd 3% resist, the other champion is guaranteed. You're not going to get 2 resists in a row on the same debuff, so that's what makes this team 100%. And then we've got the Cold Heart in for enemy max HP nuking, but you could replace that with any champion that deals max HP damage that is affinity friendly. And then we've got our Odin, little friend Odin. Made a freaking crazy discovery here with this. Just playing around with it the other day. And you're going to see here, this is something that I've never seen before. So Cold Hard in with the 2 million and Odin with the 3.7 million damage smack, dealing more than 60% of the spider's health. That would actually, if they started with 100% health, that would take the spider to about 10% health. So Odin's dealing the spider about 90% of its health with that one smack. What a friggin'... That's a friggin' support champion doing that. That's crazy. So 10-second run there, and then here we have him in Phantom Shogun's Grove. Pretty much doing what you see here. He's laying on the ground pretty much the whole match. Honestly, not really needed all that much. He plays more of a support role than anything here in Phantom Shogun's Grove. The nice thing about Odin is, even with a weak hit on the Phantom Shogun, he can still smack for like 250k, which is a good chunk on Phantom Shogun 25. It's a good chunk of his health. As well, if he's able to sneak in a buff, like a buff spread or something like that, even just once or twice throughout the battle, that's perfect. That's all we need. And then we've got other champions like Geomancer and Mithrala, Venus, Godseeker, all with extremely high blessings to keep that counter down to 0 pretty much the whole battle. So what you see is what you get. I've edited out a little bit of it, but you're going to see pretty much the main thing. We're getting HP burns. We're getting that damage reduction from Geomancer's passive when he places an HP burn debuff on a champion. We're going to get that reflect damage as well. We're going to get revives from Godseeker, and as well she has a 6-star blessing, so she's really, really strong here in this battle. As well as Venus, going to be placing Brimstone with Mithrala. So we don't really care about the Enfeeble at all. We're still going to place the Brimstone. And we have a cleanser in Mithrala. So we're going to be cleansing off whatever debuffs we can. And then Venus and Mithrala are going to be poisoning the hell out of the boss. And decrease defense and weaken from Venus. So that's pretty much it. Odin didn't really do a whole lot there, honestly. I think he gets that one big smack in there, the 294,000 damage, which is pretty good. Pretty good. And that's about it. Maybe he spreads the bus once or twice here. I don't know. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention. But one thing I can tell you is that that team there is probably about a 95% success rate team. I've never ever had a 100% success rate Phantom Shogun team on my account personally, but you guys could probably get that to 100% if you got Odin into a 4-star or above blessing. He probably would be 100%, to be honest with you. So here we have the bread and butter of Odin, Dragon's Lair, stage 10 hard. So we don't even have an aura for our team here. We just have Odin in the lead, so he's constantly getting rebuffed by Necrit's buff ability, which usually targets the leader of your team on auto. So that's why we just have Odin. We don't need an aura. We're on the hardest stage dragon. All we need is those juicy buffs that strengthen and that 1.4 million smack on the ads. So yeah, he's coming in clutch here. I don't even know what to tell you guys, man. Block damage, shield, ally protect, strengthen, block debuffs. The ally protect unfortunately doesn't get shared, but the shields from Necrit, which turns out to be quite a sizable shield, gets spread to the whole team eventually. So the block debuffs, the strengthen, the shield, and the block damage, pretty insane to just be spreading around every 9 turns. It's actually quite overpowered, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. If we're factoring in how hard he hits too, part of a good support champion is they can actually help out on offense as well. So Odin definitely checks out in the offensive department. Probably the best offensive support champion in the game for the fact that he is hybrid. He is a single target nuker plus support champion, and he does both jobs very, very well. I must say, very impressed. Once I got Odin into his damage gear, I was mind blown at the amount of damage that he can actually do with his big smack on any champion. Doesn't matter if it's arena, doesn't matter if it's high level dungeons, doesn't matter if it's bosses, HYDRA. He's going to be competing with He-Man in terms of single target nuke damage. He's going to be competing with any champion in the game that can do single target nuking. He's going to be competing with their amount of damage. So pretty impressive coming from a supposed support champion. But yeah, really all that's required to do Dragon 10, as you can see there, I've made a little chart on the left-hand side of the screen denoting the best buffs that you could possibly be spreading with Odin for this battle. Is just simply, all you really need is increased defense, strengthen, block, debuffs, so that you're not taking those nasty poisons or the stuns from the dragon, and the shield buffs as well, which are obviously going to increase your survivability a lot. If one of your block damage buffs fall off, you still have the shield hopefully to back you up. And then with the amount of speed and the amount of times that Necrit's Aegis, Undead Aegis, or Unsleeping Aegis passive goes off, which is whenever a shield buff is placed by this, like Necrit's passive, his second passive places a shield, you will see that he's getting his ally attack back very quickly, which gives him an extra turn, which cycles back over to his buff ability, which places the ally protect. So as you notice here, we've got ally protect on the entire team pretty much. So every time one of those shields gets reactivated on the champion with ally protect, Necrit's going to basically, cycle right back to his ability that places strengthen, block, debuffs, and ally protect on a champion. So this is crazy. Like the amount of survivability that we have here is number one in the game. There's no other team in the game that's going to offer you this much survivability. Maybe save but for just to add different champions in, such as a Pythion in place of I don't even know if you would, but Pythion could be... I guess Pythion could easily replace a Necrit here in this situation. Yeah, because you would have Pythion proverbially putting up block debuffs on your entire team, as well as a revive all every 3 turns, right? So, we did pause there just to show you guys just the sheer level and amount of buffs that we have. Like, there's 30, 40 buffs, there's 10, 25, at very minimum 25 buffs at all times. There's just so many buffs. I can't even begin to explain to you how crazy this is. This is Raid Shadow Legends at its finest here. This is where all of your hard work and all of your patience and all of your diligence building these champions over the years and making sure that these champions are built properly and optimizing the gear by farming the gear, day in, day out. This is where it all pays off. When you finally pull a champion like Odin Faefather, you finally realize all the hard work that you put into the game finally is worth something. It really feels really good. When everything kind of comes to a head. So here we have Ice Golem. This could be Ice Golem Stage 10, but honestly I just got bored of recording it because I had been recording it for so long, just trying to figure out the best Ice Golem team that doesn't get one-shotted at once every 5 matches. This was the best team that I found. This is the team that gets a little dicey, and I've skipped forward here to where it can get a little dicey is right at the boss battle when we don't have the Lydia in here for block revives. I couldn't fit her into the team. I really just wanted the Mithrala instead for more survivability. But we have the Demetha just placing a crazy amount of continuous heals, as well as increasing the duration of buffs with the Godseeker, which is also increasing the duration of buffs. As you notice, Feral is nowhere to be found in this build, has been replaced by the Demetha, which places a secondary block damage. So we have 2 champions. I want you to kind of observe that we have really no damage dealers here. We have Mithrala for poisons, but the boss is immune to poisons. The only thing that he's weak to that we don't have is HP burns. I couldn't fit any other team to be able to do this level. This guy just does so much damage. This is the only team that I could figure out. So we're doing all of our damage with Brimstone and War Master, and just trying to pray to God that we survive for long enough to be able to kill this guy. But as you see here, this is like worst case scenario. We've lost in one fell smack. I'm going to take you guys back and show you. Look at all the buffs we had. We had strengthen, block debuffs, increased defense, shields. And the boss just says, I don't care. I'm killing you all. And boom, there we're down. So we've got, thankfully we had block damage on Odin, on Godseeker. Those are the 2 champions that you would want to survive in this type of a situation. Because Godseeker is going to start doing her revive. Odin's still up to be able to potentially do a revive as well. Necrit comes back up. He's going to get those buffs. Boom, there we got the buffs. Block damage back on. And now, Odin, boom, pops Mithrala back up. Boom. You see it there. 300k, pops Mithrala back up. And now, all of a sudden, we've got a team again. So we went from being absolutely screwed to not screwed, simply because we were able to keep our reviver. And there I've denoted the problem there. You know, it's basically what I just said. Too many continuous heals, preventing the block damage from being able to be spread. Therefore, our whole team ends up getting cooked from time to time. But I found that just having Demetha in there for the secondary block damage actually is worth, you know, the risk of that happening, because in the long run, we will have block damage up on our team for pretty much every single turn that we need it for. So that's the trade-off there, is that, yeah, we might get the odd run where it just fails miserably and we lose. But we're doing, you have to remember, we're not doing Ice Golem 20 here. We're doing the hardest level of Ice Golem, stage 9. This could easily do stage 10 as well. It doesn't matter what affinity we're doing here, because the whole team is void affinity. That's another reason why I like a team like this. We're not worried about the time. Look at the time, 10:36. Terrible time. But if you factor in that we're not going to be doing Ice Golem all that often anyways, and also that just being able to complete the run in and of itself is a success. So, for most accounts. So being able to do this, you know, before I was doing at most Ice Golem stage 25. So I've instantly jumped up to a Ice Golem 9 or 10 hard farm with Odin, which is really, really cool. And we did end up getting a pair of mythic boots there, but they're not very good. Now this is where Odin actually becomes insane. He goes from like legendary god tier status to just being absolutely insane, because he's going to get you through the Doom Tower as well. He's going to put all of the best Doom Tower bosses that stump most people into having to go into cheese strategies and build out champions that are doing absolutely nothing except just cheese their way through stages of Bommel and stuff like that. He's going to actually enable you to be able to farm Bommel, which is awesome because he's doing it at 100% and quickly as well. So here we've got Balmo the Dreadhorn, stage 10, hard Doom Tower, 100% runs on full auto. We've got Odin in the lead. We've got Feral in the lead. We got the 60 resist aura, and we've got Matriarch Zarguna in as well. Notably speaking, Matriarch Zarguna and Demetha here, so we're going to be placing continuous heals with Matriarch and Demetha, but Matriarch will also be placing a shield on our team, which when it gets destroyed, heals our team by 25% of their max HP. So Matriarch in for this one, and really good, solid, survivable team here. There's never been an instance where I've seen this fail. Not even come close. And then Feral placing that decreased speed on the boss, which makes his life a living hell. We're not increasing our turn meter at all. We're not decreasing Balmo's turn meter. It's very important that you don't do that if you want to survive in this battle. You cannot be doing turn meter increase or decrease whatsoever, or Balmo's just going to have a heyday. He's going to be spawning more powder kegs onto the ground with each turn meter increase or decrease that you do. And instead of his normal 2 powder kegs that he spawns, I've seen up to 10, 20 at one time when I used to run some of my old teams. So the whole point of Balmo is to just get that block damage up there as often as possible. We don't have a reviver to fall back on, so we're very confident in our ability to stay alive, and we're not increasing the buff duration with Godseeker, just with Demetha as the only buff extender we have for this team, I believe. Or does Matriarch Zarguna do something regarding buffs or debuffs? I forget what it is. I think she decreases the duration of debuffs on our team by 1 turn. So yeah, she's not buff extending at all, so that's good. We only have 1 buff extender for this team. We're going to kill Balmo with poisons. The block buffs might be good to prevent him from placing that decreased attack or that increased attack on himself. But there you see, it's just a cakewalk. Balmo's a cakewalk. Scarab King is a cakewalk. Here you see the same thing pretty much. The only difference here is Matriarch comes out and Lord Skull Vargul comes in. Lord Skull will destroy the target's max HP every time he is attacked. And that's all you need to be focused on with the Scarab King, is that you want to just decrease his shield as much as possible. So you have to destroy his max HP in order to decrease his shield, therefore allowing you to do damage to him and stay alive and get your resistance up as much as possible with Feral and the increased resist aura to be able to resist those provokes. Also to be able to resist the buff strip, the AoE buff strip of the Scarab King, which on hard Doom Tower can get very, very, very annoying, to say the least. If he's just stripping all of your hard-earned buffs and then placing Provoke on your entire team. Another thing, too, is you want to have a shield. It's important to have a shield for Scarab King, because if you don't attack with a shield, he's going to counterattack, and his counterattack provokes your team. So block debuffs is pretty important for this battle, just to make sure that you're not getting provoked. Increased resistance is nice as well to make sure that your block debuffs is not getting removed, and also protection sets, obviously, to make sure that your block debuffs isn't getting removed. So your block debuffs, your increased resistance, and then just let Lord Skull Vargul or any champion that destroys max HP go to work. You have to have a destroys max HP champion if you want to efficiently farm this boss, or efficiently get through this boss in a time that's reasonable. Now, if you don't have that, what you could do, if you don't have a champion in a destroy set, you don't have a champion that destroys enemy max HP, what you could do is just have a poisoner or an HP burner, I guess, and just kind of like, you know, cheese it, where you're just taking, you take 30 minutes to complete the level, but you only do it once and then you just move on, right? So there is that option, and that's 100% run. It's very easy, just Lord Skullvargol, you know, makes it super easy. So that's it. I'm not going to show you Odin and Clan Boss. I really don't have a Clan Boss team specifically built for Odin. But let me just say, Odin can basically do the same thing as Demetha Unkillable Comp, which a lot of people fell in love with back in the day when she first came out, which is very easy to achieve. I'll show you my team here. So this is it. It's just basically Demetha for the block damage, and then a bunch of turn meter boosting, and Geomancer for the HP burn and reflect damage procs onto the clan boss. I forget what they call it, like the Myth Air Unkillable or something like that. Well, the only thing that you would need if you wanted to do an unkillable comp with Odin is to speed tune your team to make sure that every 9 turns, right immediately after the 9th turn is taken by either of your team or the clan boss, that the clan boss gets a turn. So that would mean that 9 turns go by, Odin places the block buffs, the block damage on your entire team, and then your clan boss would get a turn and do nothing to your team. Actually, this would be insanely easy to build, because you could just place a block debuffs on Odin, block damage on Odin. You could do the slow boy Odin thing where the rest of your team is going at like a 2-to-1 ratio. So the way I could see this working is Odin takes a turn, the rest of your team takes 2 turns, and then the block damage goes up, and then the clan boss takes a turn. Rinse and repeat. So you could place block debuffs on Odin. It would be spread to the entire team. It would be affinity friendly, so nobody is taking the stun. And boom, voila, you've got yourself an unkillable team. So there you go. That's all I'm going to say about that. It would be really awesome for anyone that doesn't have that doesn't have a 1-key Ultra Nightmare team yet. Odin can do that for you. I'm sure that you could actually make a specific team with Odin in this slow boy build that would be able to achieve that for you. With that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here for today. I've had a blast, man. I don't know what to tell you. The hardest thing for me was to figure out how I could do this video for you guys, because honestly, bro, like the amount of time that I've spent doing this video and just trying to make this video as short as humanly possible, it wasn't possible, because Odin is just so diverse. He does so many things and enables so much stuff that I wasn't able to do before. So not only have I been doing the stuff, but I've been having to figure out the stuff as well. So figuring out how to do the best teams with the gear that I have and the champions that I have, which isn't much, by the way, I'll just say that, and being able to get everything to a point where it's working, to be able to showcase it, and then figure out some things along the way that were just crazy as well, like Odin's 3.7 million strike on the Spider 20. I was never expecting that. And then obviously seeing how well he does in areas like HYDRA and CHIMERA as well. I wasn't able to get to show you guys his run that I had last week in CHIMERA. Do I still have the run posted here? Yeah, so here it is. So this was the first time I ever did Brutal CHIMERA. Like I don't 1-key it. I'm going to be honest with you. We fall like 3 million short of a 1-key. But before I was doing max hard. So I was doing hard max before, and now we're already almost at a 1-key just with this unbooked crappy unbooked Lydia, unbooked Feral. I'm sure once we get the books and the correct speeds on Feral and Lydia, that this team will turn into an absolute CHIMERA slasher. So yeah, and Odin dealing a whopping 10 freaking millones damage which is absolutely insane. How is he doing this? I have no clue, bro, but yeah, he's doing that. So he's doing it. And then on hard, how much damage did he do to the hard one? Must have been a lot, because we're already up here. 52 million damage. 52 million damage to hard, and he actually came in with 13 million damage on the hard Chimera. So he's a Chimera legend. Being able to steal that increased speed buff or strip the buff. Being able to, against the Viper head, which is the big snake head, being able to steal those buffs back or strip those buffs away, it really makes your battle just block the buffs from being stolen in the first place. Just really makes your runs just go so much smoother. You get so many more turns when they don't have that increased speed buff. And you guys all get to keep your increased speed buffs. It just makes the runs go so much better. So that's my share on Odin Faefather. I think, you know, without a doubt, bro, he is by far the best champion that I've ever worked with. The easiest champion that I've ever built out, you know, and the fact that we were so fortunate to be able to pull Feral the Barkhorn like 4 days after I pulled Odin was just a godsend, because he is literally the perfect pairing for a guy like Odin. So, yeah. But yeah, Odin with the reviews here. He's getting a 5 in arena offense, 5 in arena defense, 5 in faction wars. We got to give him a 5 in HYDRA. I don't know what these people are smoking, but he's definitely getting a 5 in HYDRA. He can do Nightmare HYDRA easily if you have the right speeds. Spider's Den, he's getting only in Spider Normal. I don't know. I haven't found a team for Spider Hard. But in Spider Normal, he's for sure getting a 4.5. not a 5. And then Chimera, he's getting a 5. Don't know what you guys are thinking. He's getting a 5 in Iron Twins. He's not by any means weak in Iron Twins. A 5 in Dragon's Lair, a 5 in Campaign, a 5 in Ice Golem's Peak. All the keeps, he's getting a 5. Against the Demon Lord, he should get a 5. I mean, he's enabling block damage comps for Ultra Nightmare all on his own. So how can you say that he's less than a 5? I don't know. And then Sand Devils, I've never played him on Sand Devils. I've never played him before on Fire Knights. I wouldn't do him on Fire Knights because he's honestly just not needed in Fire Knights at all. And then Phantom Shogun's Grove, people are giving him a 4.5. I would probably, honestly, bro, I would probably say that's an accurate rating, because he's not the best. He's definitely not a 5 in Phantom Shogun's Grove, because for me personally, he's going to spend most of his time on the ground, but at least you can do the run, and he does the run well. You know, you could re-gear him, I'm sure, and make a better build to do places like Shogun's Grove with more survivability. So that's my rant on Odin. I'm done. This will be the last build video or showcase of this champion that you guys see until I get Odin in an arena build. If you guys want to see the arena build, I mean, like I said to you before, there's plenty of videos already on YouTube that other content creators have made where Odin is showcased in arena specifically, and their builds are pretty good. Like the builds that they were showing, I was seeing, are all pretty much what I would be running anyways. So go check out those videos. I might put one up if you guys want to see me put one up for some reason. I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Once I get a free re-gearing event or something like that, I'll do the video. But for now, this is where I'm going to be keeping my Odin. I'm going to try to get him into a 4-piece Slayer set to get that extra cooldown chance and that extra speed. But other than that, there's really no changes that I'll be making other than just putting better gear on my Odin and bettering my other champs to make Odin better as well. That's another thing you guys have to realize. The better your team is built, the better Odin is going to be, because the more buffs, the more speed, the more buffs that the rest of your team has, the better Odin is going to be. So with that, I'm done. With that, I'm getting out of here for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, man. I know this was a lot of information, but most deserved for the best legendary champion that Plarium has ever designed has to get his due respect. He's gotten his due respect, man. And man, oh man, did I ever mention to you guys the design on this champion for a barbarian that could easily have just been brushed off, you know, with a couple of swipes here and there. You know, they actually went and made this champion a 10 out of 10 for design. Crazy, crazy design on this champion. The detail is perfect. I'm not glazing. This is, as I will tell you, if I don't like a champion like Ninja, awful, awful design. Mithrala, there's people that say they like Mithrala. I think they went the wrong direction with Mithrala, just making her all blue. I think they kind of just gave up on that one. But for the new champions that they've been introducing to the game recently, and certainly no different in Odin, they've been actually making these champions, for the most part, look pretty badass, I gotta say. So, yeah. Mad shout out to Plarium. For once in my life, you're never going to hear me clip that. Somebody clip that. You're never going to hear me praise Plarium for pretty much anything that they do. But for this one champion, they finally did something right, man. So I'm so glad that, you know, that I got him. And if you were lucky enough to get him too, congratulations to you. You have the best champion in the game in legendary form. And with that, I will get out of here until the next one. Peace.